Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Cox and I equip first-time supervisors with necessary leadership tools. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to head on over to my website and subscribe for a free resource, The Ultimate Guide to Identifying What Type of Leader You Are in 5 Easy Steps. While you are there, you can check out my Goat Locker, which is a place where you can get free tools to use to help you develop as a leader. Welcome to Episode 3, Core Values. I want to talk to you today about core values and why they're so important. When you identify what your core values are, it will provide insight into what motivates you. Our core values are principles that we live by, and it's important to know who you are and what you hold dear. I want to ask you if you are operating from a place where you are in alignment with your values. What have you done to identify your values? I have some clients who have no idea what their values are, and that's why I find this so important, because we can go our whole life without knowing why we do what we do. So how do we know what your values really are? Think of a normal everyday situation when you are happy. If you are happy, then that means that your value is being honored. Now think of a time when you are upset or not happy. If you are not happy or upset, then that means that one of your values is being compromised, threatened, or being taken from you. When you think about it, everything we do is related in one way or another to our values, because they help us make decisions, set goals, and prioritize every single day of life. Values are the product of our experiences in life, be it family, religion, community, whatever or wherever. Values are the result. The values you have may not reflect what you want out of life. What I mean by this is that they may be the things you were taught to want or don't want at all. I'd like to share a personal example about my core value identification. Throughout my life, I thought in order to be liked by those around me, I had to be successful. So for me, up until recently, one of my top values was success. The problem was that I couldn't define success because I was always chasing it. And when I thought I got to a certain place, either personally or professionally, I would just find something else to move on to. Now, where this all comes from is for another time and another place. I'll spare you the details. I was operating from a place of fear. I was holding the value of success highly because I wanted people to find me valuable or worthy. And the only way to do that was to succeed at every aspect of my life. You can imagine the amount of stress this can cause a person. Once I realized this, I re-examined my values, and I found that success was nowhere near the top. In fact, it didn't even make it to my top 8. I now understand that my top value is connection. And to me, that means I love connecting with anyone and everyone because I like to hear everyone's story. Most of all, I just like to talk. Those of you closest to me know and understand that. Now that I've shared a bit about my life, let's talk about the 2 types of values. And again, there's no right or wrong. The goal is to move you from a place of fear to a place of consciousness. The first types of values are fear-based values. These are values that you adopt or take on that are connected to a past event or series of events. They cause you to take action in order to avoid something. Think, I have to or else. The best way I can explain this is just like in my story. I have to be successful or I will not be loved or liked. Another example, I have to value independence because I can't count on anyone. The other type of values are conscious-based values. Values that you adopt because they allow you to take positive action. They are in alignment with what you want out of life. They are serving and focus on the present rather than the past. Think want to. I want to be wealthy because I love helping others. And being wealthy allows me to share my resources with others who do not have them. It is more sustainable to focus on what you want, not what you don't. Keep in mind, it takes a lot of effort to avoid what you don't want. So now that you have a little more insight into the 2 types of values, I would like to talk about whether or not your values are in alignment with your employers, or if employees are operating within alignment of your company's values. Oftentimes we go to work without thinking about whether we agree with what our company's values are. You may even say, yeah, but it's just a job. That's totally fine. But if you're not in alignment with your values of your employer, or vice versa, your motivation to succeed can be drastically impacted. In fact, I believe that you'll find a lot more joy in your life, both personally and professionally, if you work at a place that honors your values. From an employer's perspective, you will find that your employees will love to come to work if they believe whatever you are doing is in alignment with what they value. So when you think about what to do with this knowledge, rather than focusing on what you don't want, try focusing on what you do. So to close this out, as always, I would like to leave you with a few questions. Think about a time when life was really good. What value is being expressed or honored? Think about a time when you were upset. What value is being challenged or compromised? And finally, when do you compromise your values and why? I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you are a supervisor who is currently looking for leadership development, log on to my website and click the Work With Me link and fill out the application to qualify. If you know someone who may benefit from this podcast, please share it with them.